And we're back with another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, Jake Baldino, and today we're talking about Doom: The Dark Ages. This is the latest from id Software, and it's their third in the line of what I would call the kind of modern Doom games. So you have Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, and now this. Each one feels pretty different. They shake things up quite a bit. And this one is a prime example of that. It's the Doomslayer like you've never seen him before, in a world you haven't seen before, fighting a little bit differently. And it absolutely works. I don't know if it's my favorite of the modern 3 games yet. It's got a few downturns, a couple of things, but other than that, this is just a good old-fashioned video game that is really fun to play through. It's a pretty kick-ass ride, and it delivers the goods. It delivers what you want. Sometimes it can just be as simple as that. And just so you know, before we keep going, I've been playing a review copy, and all this footage is captured on PC, and it's spoiler-free. Because first things first, we'll start off with the fact that there is like a story. In the Dark Ages, the Doomslayer, at the start, is kind of used as a tool. He's like a blunt weapon activated to push back the forces of hell. And in this sci-fi fantasy tinged universe, the Doomslayer still feels consistently like himself for the most part, just this like inhuman wrecking ball brute force raged thing. And it's really everything else around him that takes a bit getting used to. Now, Doom Eternal experimented with some cutscenes and more advanced alien races and just stuff going on. So if you were kind of weirded out by that, there's a lot more of it here. Dark Ages takes that all a bit further with a full-on cinematic story. Characters come and go, and there are some more reasons given to what you're actually doing. Credit where credit's due, they put a ton of work into this, and there are some big scenes with like a lot of like wow factor. Unfortunately, I just still kind of felt mentally disconnected from it all. The characters aren't super memorable, really, other than that they look cool. And the really good moments kind of come few and far between. When it hits, it hits. It's kick-ass. When it doesn't, it's just whatever. Now, this is subjective, of course. It's going to come down to your taste. Visually and production-wise, it is cool as hell. Even if I didn't feel too invested in it, that's okay, because I still appreciate what it did, or what it was going for. It feels a little cartoony, kind of goofy and serious, like it's almost like a weird hell sci-fi Power Rangers episode or something. So I really can't hate it. It also just feels like a good early 2000s game throwback story campaign. And you know what? I can at least respect it for that. But this game is all about the gameplay still. Yes, they've introduced some cinematic storytelling, but don't sweat it. Like, you're still mostly in the Doom guy's shoes all the time, just killing shit. The core gameplay is great. I love it. Now, a lot has been said about the gameplay differences of all these Doom games already. It's been a talking point. You know, Doom 2016 was simple and brutal. Eternal got much faster and way more complex. And the Dark Ages marketing has talked about like boots on the ground, stand your ground style combat, with it kind of being the first Doom game with defensive options like a throwable Captain America shield. But in my experience, don't get it twisted, this is still a Doom game through and through. You're still juggling multiple weapons, different ways and reasons to kill different enemies, ammo types, all that, like you're sprinting around super fast all the time. It's still extremely sweaty and best enjoyed on a mouse and keyboard if you can. I don't know, after reading previews of this game and all the post-launch talk, I was expecting something radically different. What we have here is something that makes really fun and interesting changes to the formula, but it doesn't lose sight of what it is. It's a good mix of the complexities of Eternal and the brutal simplicity of 2016, with it being a little bit crunchier, a little bit punchier, and a little weightier this time around. Some of this is thanks to that shield. So you can throw it at things for puzzles, but you're mostly tossing it at dudes. It rips through fodder enemies and can actually get stuck in and stun bigger enemies. It can also be used to kind of shield bash towards enemies, and this thing, like a lot of things in the game, evolves as you go, like more things are added to it. But one of the biggest main things is that it can be used to parry attacks. Enemies will do certain green attacks that you can deflect back at them and, you know, potentially damage them or open them up to more vulnerable melees. And a lot of enemies will start shooting glowing and non-glowing projectiles at you, leading to you kind of ducking and dodging and knocking back the right projectiles. Some of these attacks coming at you might seem slow and easy to deflect at first in the early levels. You might find yourself kind of unimpressed, but when you have walls and walls of them coming at you from tons of enemies and enemies right up in your face too, like, it can become really chaotic and sort of like a low-key bullet hell, almost like an ultra murder version of Returnal or something. Now, melee is also emphasized here because you can combo hits if you have enough melee charges, and then you can combo right into a finisher. This kind of alters glory kills, making the game more flexible, but the trade-off is that sometimes you just don't get those cool over-the-top kill animations. But it also means that you're constantly on the move, you're not getting like locked into animations and stuff. There's still plenty of crazy violence here, but the old glory kill system is missed. I get why they changed it up though, and you might too once you start playing. But there are also melee options, believe it or not, so you can change it up from just your fists with different trade-offs. A notable one, an early one, is the flail, which is slower and slower to charge, but it hits a lot harder. And along with that, the new weapons are fun. Really cool stuff going on here. I won't spoil them all, but I'll give you the basics. There's the Impaler. It's like a longer range, but kind of slow power spike shot. There's the Pulverizer skull weapon you saw in the trailer, which is good for crowd control and kind of makes me feel like I'm playing Serious Sam a little bit. There's the Chain Shot, which just shoots out a long, retractable, spiky ball, depending on how long you hold the trigger. There's a bigger plasma rifle, a new spin on the BFG, and a bunch of other stuff. What's nice is that some weapons are just evolutions of ones you already have, and you can transform them on the fly, almost like firing mode. Like the regular shotgun switches to the super shotgun, so you can use what you like for what situation and kind of clean up weapon swapping in the process and not have this roster that's overly full. Great new enemies and some cool boss battles make for like a decent and chaotic combat system. Not quite as like all the time micromanagey hyper fast as Doom Eternal, but like I said before, a little bit crunchier. Still, it can like result in a lot of chaos and blood and confusion if you get roughed up. But the gore, the sound effects, the feedback, the surprising amount of destructibility in the environment, and of course, the genuine challenge that comes with it can just make it a lot of fun. And it basically just made me look forward to every single fight. It's all going down with music that isn't as memorable as the previous two games. I miss composer Mick Gordon, man. His absence here is noticeable. The work here fits within the Doom games, you know, the vibe is there, and it feels like Doom, but none of the themes are as catchy or as memorable as you'd be hoping. I was disappointed in this aspect. It's just music that gets the job done. It doesn't go above and beyond. Now, of the 22 chapters or levels, there are some featuring piloting a giant mech and riding a big old hell dragon thing. These are so freaking cool on paper, but unfortunately, they're just okay. The mech stuff works. Stomping around as a big guy, stepping on demon tanks and destroying buildings and bridges is very cool. It's satisfying, and I always want to feel like Gypsy Danger from Pacific Rim. It's just the combat is extremely simple. It's relying on dodging, punching, and then punching enough to build up a super attack, and then you unleash that super attack. It gets a little repetitive fast. But at the very least, I like how it broke up the on-foot sections with just some good, simple, dumb fun. It's just compared to the main combat that is so refined and tightly designed and responsive, the mech stuff just kind of felt like normal basic video game stuff comparatively. Riding the dragon leads to some awesome looking sequences, and it's really easy to control, and it's fun to duck and dive and blast off. It's just a lot of it relies on just simply locking onto an enemy, squaring up with it, and dodging in certain directions depending on what they're throwing at you. Dodge enough properly, and then you're able to shoot them down with charged weapons. This just gets old really quick and kills the momentum of feeling like a cool flying dragon. Like, why would you, as a flying thing, want to literally stop mid-air, square up and face your enemy, and then just kind of engage in like an almost dodging minigame, almost like a Beat Saber minigame? It's just not that fun. But again, flying around crazy environments, the kind of optional little chases you can do, the things you can hunt down, and even landing and then hopping off and running around to do something else, like, that stuff is well done. So these new things, the mech and the dragon, they just don't quite stand up to the fun factor of the main combat. At the very least, they're a good way to break up the pacing, but just don't expect them to be world-changing. Now, the other way the game is paced is with some missions that are quite large. It's a bit weird at first to run around an open battlefield as a Doom guy, choosing your battles when you want on your own terms, but I think it mostly works. Sometimes, in larger environments, the enemies feel a little bit dumber than they should, but that's like my only complaint. Thankfully, Doom hasn't gone full open world or anything, believe me, they're not that big. There's only so much wandering around, and to be honest, you wander around in a lot of other Doom games. And while lots of the levels, pretty much all of them, have hidden spots and secret avenues and all these little optional things, only a select few seem to feel really, really big. It's still all distinctly Doom. You're running around looking for armor and health, you're looking for secrets, and even the occasional weapon skin, which actually some of them look really cool. You're finding key cards, all the usual stuff. The added bonus is now currency and stuff for upgrades. You can find and kill more powerful enemies, which are often pretty fun to square up against, and then you earn character health upgrades. And you're also collecting gold and rare rubies as the currency to spend at a shrine on upgrades. The upgrades are for weapons, for your shield, and for your melee. Stuff like letting your chainsaw shield stun enemies longer, or certain guns getting a ricochet effect, or maybe a shotgun blast lighting enemies on fire. Most are worthwhile and provide good combat options. And between these upgrades and the skins and the secrets, I just felt thoroughly encouraged and rewarded to explore. It feels like they got the balance mostly right here. So if you can't tell, I really like Doom: The Dark Ages. It's not just a top to bottom 10 out of 10. Every single thing in this game is great. There's a couple of things that they tried that I don't love completely, but ultimately, this is still just a good video game adventure to play through. I had a hell of a good time, pun intended, I guess, sorry. And with these modern Doom games, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's worth playing through twice. Like, you play through once on like a normal-ish difficulty, which is hard enough, and then play through it again on one of the insane difficulties and really understand some of the nuances of the combat. It once again has that sauce, and I really, really appreciate that. So ultimately, yes, long story short, I definitely recommend it, especially if you love Doom. But that's a before you buy. You know how this goes by now. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion, and now I want to hear yours down in the comments. What's your experience with Doom? Are you like me? Have you been playing since the OG? Was Doom Eternal your first Doom game? We can talk anything Doom down in the comments. Would love to hear from you, and would love to hear your expectations for the new game. If this video helped you out, seeing the ultra-wide gameplay, maybe helped steer your decision or anything like that, clicking the like button helps us out. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're new, consider subscribing because we put out videos every single day. But as always, I'm Jake Baldino. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.